Children treat money like it has an expiration date. Give a kid $20 and you can almost see the clock start ticking in their head. Birthday money from a grandparent. Allowance after chores. A few crumpled bills from helping a neighbor. However it arrives, the money rarely feels like something that can sit still. Instead, it always feels like something that needs to become something. A toy, a snack, a game skin, a hoodie. One of those tiny plastic things near the register that looks pointless until a child explains, with full legal confidence, why it is essential. And most parents know the script. Don't spend it all. Save some. Money doesn't grow on trees. You'll want it later. Those lines come from a good place. Parents are trying to protect the child from the tiny heartbreak of spending everything and realizing 10 minutes later that regret does not come with a refund policy. But to a child, saving can sound like fun being taken away. Waiting can feel like punishment. The future feels blurry, while the thing in front of them is bright, available, and already connected to a feeling. That is why the one money concept parents should teach before age 12 has to be bigger than save your money. The question is simple. What could this money become later? That is the lesson. Money moves through time. At its core, this is financial literacy for kids in its simplest form. Using compound interest, saving habits, spending choices, and borrowing to show children that money has a future before they are old enough to have real bills. Compound interest is the clearest example of that personal finance lesson. Money can grow while it waits. Then the money it earns can start earning too. But this is bigger than a savings account, a kid's investment account, or an investment chart. Because money does not only grow through time, it also gets traded, borrowed, rushed, protected, and turned into choices. What a child does with money today changes what that money can become tomorrow. Once that idea lands, almost every other part of financial literacy for kids starts making more sense. Saving makes more sense. Spending makes more sense. Borrowing makes more sense. And compound interest stops sounding like a strange adult formula and starts feeling like one part of a much bigger lesson. There are 4 ways this shows up. First, money can grow while you wait. Second, money can lose its future when you spend it too fast. Third, borrowed money can make the future smaller. And fourth, money can become options. That fourth one is the most important part of the video, so stick around for it, because it is the reason the first 3 matter. A child can learn to save, spend, and borrow carefully, but the deeper lesson is learning what money can become when it protects their choices. That is the kind of lesson Raised to Spend is built around, the quiet ones children absorb before anyone realizes they are being taught. If this is the kind of thing you want to start catching earlier, like and subscribe for more videos, because once a child understands that money moves through time, the first thing they start to see differently is waiting. Most parents think teaching kids about money means teaching them to save. Saving matters, of course, but a child can save money and still misunderstand what money is. They can keep cash in a jar because a parent told them to. They can avoid spending because the last purchase came with a lecture. They can hold on to money and still feel like saving is just delayed sadness. The lesson needs to feel more alive than that. Some money grows because nobody touches it. That is compound interest for kids in its simplest form. Money can make money while it waits. Then, the new money can make a little more, given enough time. The waiting starts doing part of the work. A child does not need a formula first. They do not need to know the difference between a brokerage account and a retirement account, while they are still leaving socks in places socks should never be. They need the feeling that money sitting in the right place may still be doing something. You can make this visible with a jar, a savings account, or a simple parent match. If your child saves $10 and you add $1 at the end of the month because they left it alone, they can see that the money grew without another chore. Next month, the bigger amount has a chance to grow again. Small, boring, real. That is how to teach kids to save and build saving habits without making saving feel like a punishment. Waiting is no longer empty. It becomes delayed gratification a child can actually feel. Children need that picture because childhood is surrounded by immediacy. The toy is now. The sale is now. The friend has it now. The screen makes everything feel urgent now. A child is rarely thinking, what will this money become in 6 months? So the parent has to make the future visible. Before the store, the algorithm, and every checkout shelf on earth teaches the child that money only matters when it leaves. The second way money moves through time is harder, because the child has to notice something invisible. When money is spent, it does not only buy the thing in front of them, it also gives up every other future that dollar could have had. The bigger toy, the saved goal, the emergency option, the chance to invest later, the calm feeling of still having money left. The thing they buy is visible. The option they lose is not. This is where "don't waste your money" can miss the point. The child hears, "don't enjoy your money." That creates the wrong fight. Some money should become joy. Some should become birthday treats, snacks, and the kind of childhood purchase that makes no adult sense but matters in the moment. A child who feels guilty every time they spend may become an adult who treats money like a test. They are always failing. The real lesson is the trade. Every dollar has more than one possible future. So when your child gets money on Saturday and wants to spend it before dinner, the answer doesn't have to be no. Sometimes the better move is to slow the moment down. Ask what it could become by next week. Ask whether they would still want the same thing tomorrow. Ask what choice disappears if all the money leaves today. Those questions do not kill joy but make the hidden cost visible. Adult money problems often begin with the same pattern in bigger clothes. Money arrives, wanting appears, and the future goes quiet. A paycheck comes in and gets assigned before it settles. A payment plan looks manageable because the monthly number is low. A subscription quietly becomes part of the household, somewhere between electricity and that streaming service everyone forgot until the card got charged again. The child version is simpler. Allowance comes in, the toy appears, the future disappears. Raising financially smart kids does not mean raising kids who never spend. It means raising kids who can pause long enough to notice the second version of the money, the version that could still become something else. The third way money moves through time is the one that moves in the wrong direction. Debt. Not the adult version with interest rates, minimum payments, and terms that make every sentence feel expensive. The child version is borrowing from next week's allowance. They get the thing now, then next week arrives already smaller. A child can understand that. They may not understand APR, but they understand the disappointment of future money already being claimed by past wanting. Borrowing is making a promise to your future self. Sometimes that promise has a good reason. Debt is not cartoonishly evil. Borrowing can help build, fix, or survive something, or create an opportunity bigger than the cost. But children need to understand that later is not free. Later just charges differently. If your child borrows $5 from next week, the lesson cannot end when they get what they want. The lesson comes next week, when the allowance arrives, and part of it already belongs to last week. That moment teaches more than a lecture. It shows them that the future keeps receipts. The snack may be gone, the toy may already feel normal, the game skin may not feel special anymore, but the promise keeps moving forward. That is why casual borrowing can become dangerous. It teaches a child to use the future as a storage closet for today's discomfort. Want it now, put the cost later. Feel left out now, put the cost later. Avoid disappointment now, put the cost later. The world will offer that lesson constantly. Buy now, pay later. Only 4 payments. Just a small monthly cost. Upgrade today. Start today. Decide today. The language is soft because the lesson is heavy. If money has a future, debt has one too. When a child learns that in a small, safe way, before credit cards and car loans arrive, they are not being scared away from money. They are being taught to respect the promise. The fourth part is the one that matters most. Money can become options. Options are the simplest version of financial freedom a child can understand. They may not understand wealth yet, but they understand having a choice. They understand being able to wait. They understand not having to grab the first thing offered. They understand the difference between "I have to" and "I can choose." That is what money can become. When a child learns early that it moves through time, it becomes room. Room between wanting something and buying it. Room between stress and panic. Room to walk away from a bad offer, or from something everyone else has but they do not actually want. A lot of money habits for kids are formed long before kids have real bills. They watch how adults handle pressure. They watch card swipes. They watch arguments. They hear, "We can't afford that," without always hearing the priorities underneath. They watch parents buy peace after a long day, because sometimes everyone is tired and the $12 item feels cheaper than another argument in aisle 7. There's no shame in that. Every parent has had a moment where the financial lesson was less, "Let's discuss priorities," and more, "Please get in the car." But patterns teach. If money always appears when disappointment appears, a child may learn that spending is how discomfort gets solved. If money is always hidden, they may learn that money is scary. If money is always urgent, they may learn that money must be used before it disappears. If money is only discussed when something goes wrong, they may learn that money is stress with numbers attached. A different pattern creates a different money mindset. When money arrives, ask what it could become. When they want to spend immediately, help them name the trade. When they save for something and finally get it, point out that waiting did not mean nothing was happening. When they borrow from next week, let next week be smaller. When they choose not to spend everything, treat that as strength, not deprivation. And when they do spend, let some of that spending be joyful. A child should not grow up believing every dollar must be locked away for a distant future they cannot feel yet. Some money should become ice cream, generosity, or the ridiculous thing they care about for exactly 3 days, because childhood is allowed to be inefficient. But some money should be left alone long enough to grow. Some should protect a future choice. Some should teach them that having money does not mean it needs to leave immediately. The goal is not to raise a child who is afraid to spend. Fear is a terrible money teacher. The goal is to raise a child who can hold money in their hand and understand, somewhere deeper than logic, that it has more than one possible future. Because one day, the numbers get bigger, the birthday money becomes a paycheck, the borrowed allowance becomes a credit card, the toy becomes a payment plan, the game skin becomes a subscription, I have enough becomes I can afford the monthly payment. And maybe the child will not remember the exact kitchen table conversation. They may forget the folded bills, the toy aisle, the jar, the allowance, or the parent who paused for 10 seconds longer than usual. But they may remember the instinct. Money is not finished when it arrives. It can become joy, pressure, safety, regret, freedom, or a choice they still get to make later. That is the one money concept worth teaching before age 12. Money moves through time. And the question that starts around a kitchen table, with a few crumpled bills and a child already imagining what they can buy, can follow them for the rest of their life. What does this become? If this made one ordinary money moment feel less ordinary, subscribe to Raise to Spend. We look at how kids learn money before they earn it, and why those lessons shape the future they can afford.